So instead of sipping some tea today, we're gonna be dripping IV with Aliza Black. Got my SwiftHealthIV ball and my Swift Health pillow, and we are gonna get into it.
Turn it on, cook it up, make it boil, let it soak. Is it hot? Is it cold? What degree? Spill the tea.
Dad, I'm filming my podcast. Okay, welcome Aliza, and welcome back my tea sippers. Today we are healing, hydrating, and have high vibes with Swift Health Aliza Black. And I'm so excited to dive into this. So grab your greens, your coffee, your collagen, whatever your morning potion is, because today we are getting hydrated in every sense of the word. And I'm sitting down with Aliza Black, the founder of Swift Health. It's the IV therapy queen, medical disruptor, and total badass. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to get comfy on this session. I have my blanket here because I know last time I sometimes get cold during it. Yep. And I have your pillow and my ball, which I love. And so tell everybody, what is going on in my arm right now?
So Victoria was suffering from allergies. And as we know, we're in the height of allergy season. It's terrible. Middle of May.
Yeah.
Look outside. And we have a IV treatment for allergy season. So that is to help with your immune system and inflammation. So, and antihistamine. So we have fluids, hydration. We have some magnesium, vitamin C, helps with your immune system to give you a boost, B vitamins.
Everything.
And also we have some glutathione, helps with detox. And hopefully all of this mix for you will help you feel better and give you a little relief from the allergies today.
And will this help me sleep? Because my sleep has been totally off.
Yes, getting proper hydration, the B vitamins.
Put me to bed.
B12 will definitely help with your sleep. And the magnesium, all that together should definitely help make you feel a lot better. So
incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into how you got into the business, I just want to talk about how we even met, which was amazing, but obviously through Swift. Anyone planning a wedding or had a wedding knows it's like your most stressful year, right? Yep. So I was run down a lot and on the verge of always getting sick. And when I found Aliza and she would come and she comes to your house, so it's an incredible service. So it's like at your door, you don't have to go anywhere. You could be cozy on your sofa,
right?
Watch TV or we can chat, which we do.
Yeah.
And it saved me from every time that I was about to get sick. And then right before we were leaving for Italy for my wedding, it was winter. So like everything was going around and my Nonna and I were about to get sick. We felt it. And Aliza came and put us in the IV and gave us all the vitamins.
You had a good boost.
Good boost.
Extra immunity boost before your trip and your wedding.
Like hydrated before the flight, which I love. And then we didn't get sick. So it was incredible until after, but that's a different story. Oh, all right. It's fine. So I think I found you through, I can't catch Evan with one hand. Thank you so much. I think I found you on Yelp, but I was just like looking for someone in the area and it was incredible. And I remember I called you and I thought it was like a place you could go to actually.
Right.
And you're like, no, I could come to you, which was...
I think you asked for the address and I'm like, you don't actually come to us. Yeah. We come to you. And you're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we actually will come to you.
Yeah, I'm like, this is fucking incredible and life-changing. So tell me like how you even, how did this start?
So just to give a little background in how this all came about, just the history of Swift Health. Basically, we try to cater to the community wherever they at their level where they need to be. So, we have, if we go back, in the past generation, medicine was all about, treating pain and, finding the best way to not feel your pain. Right. We have Big Pharma that came out and we have, the Sackler scandal where, everyone got addicted to opioids and, it was all about treating pain. Horrible. And now in our generation, we're all about finding the root cause. What is the root cause of what is going on? We're not just looking for pain relief.
Right. Not a Band-Aid.
No Band-Aids, exactly. And we're looking for really finding the cause of what's going on so we can actually treat the issue and kind of heal from the inside out.
It's
rather
incredible,
than
yeah.
finding Band-Aids. Right. And that's that. And another thing is the old, last generation's medicine was all like old school. They were all about, you go to the doctor's office with your kids or your mother or yourself, and you're waiting there for hours, and you don't know when the doctor is going to be ready. You don't know when they're ready. It's your whole day. It's the most inconvenient system ever. So now, since COVID, we're really seeing a huge change and a revolutionary change in the way that medicine, the way that we have the system of medicine, and we have a huge need for parents, adults, children, everyone wants to have convenience. So what does that mean? It means coming to your door, coming to your house, not having to, obviously the system isn't in place for that for everybody, but the fact that we can offer a service that we come to your house and we treat you, we have hospital care at your door. And another thing is IVs. IVs are something that before COVID, you would only have in an emergency situation in the ER. You are dying, we're going to get an IV in your arm and we're going to get you hooked up and we're going to save your life. So now we're looking at, now we have NAD. What is NAD? We're talking about, having a molecule that's in every cell in the body that we realize that as you age, the level of NAD is going down. So we realize if we give you a boost of NAD, we can actually heal you from the inside out. Yeah. So we have boosters, we have IV treatments. So it's the same way. You're not feeling good. I mean, you've experienced it. We come to your door. Your child's sick, we come to your door. Whatever it is, your elderly grandmother is sick and can't get on a plane. You don't need to go to the ER. We're going to come to your door. We'll treat her, and she'll feel like new and go the next day, rather than have her go to the hospital to get sick in the waiting room for 5 hours to pick up some virus, and she'll never make it on the plane.
And that's where it happens.
That's all this together. We really try to revolutionize the healthcare system to be able to offer patients this incredible convenience. But not only that, we are trying to, look at the root cause of what's going on and try to heal from the inside out.
You're changing the way of medicine, or not medicine, even just health, how people look at health, right? So 2 things you said that I love: healing from the inside out. Yeah. Instead of Band-Aids and quick fixes, it's like we're healing before you even have to feel get to the pain or have the problem, right?
Exactly.
Like by, vitamins, eating healthy, exercise, which people know, but they didn't do as a preventative health thing.
And a lot of doctors, just to add, like, you go to I get patients that are like, I went to my primary care doctor, but like they just took blood and that was it, and I didn't see them for a year. Right. What we do at Swift Health is we also we could take a full blood panel, look through your blood work, see if you have any deficiencies.
But you do blood? I didn't know.
Full blood work. Yes.
Okay, I did not know that.
We do full blood work,
and I'm going to do that next.
Many of you who know me at Swift Health know that we do blood work. Do full panels. Look at your vitamin panel. We look at your levels. We look at your iron. We look at everything just to see how can we fill in the gaps.
Okay, I want to do that.
You're low on B12, no problem. Weekly injections of B12 injections. You're losing hair. But biotin injections, because injections, you get 100% bioavailability. It goes directly through your system. You're not losing anything like in a vitamin. And another big thing that I'm sure you all hear about and talk about are GLP-1s. So it's not just about, treating a sickness or, trying to see your levels and see where you're at. It's more about the one-on-one approach of seeing the person, making sure they feel and look their best. So when we talk about weight loss, a lot of people have been going to the traditional nutritionist, which is amazing, and we need those, and all these different fad diets. Right. But GLP-1 and the way that we approach it is it's a way for you to actually be able to lose the weight in a healthy way. We do a one-on-one approach where we guide you throughout the whole treatment and make sure that you get to your weight loss goals at the same time as having all your lifestyle modifications. So it's not just about losing weight. If you're not exercising and you're not eating healthy, you shouldn't be on that. In my opinion, you shouldn't even be taking the drug.
It's all encompassing. You have to do all of it. Yeah.
Yes, you should be taking supplements. You should be taking, you could take
taking care of your body,
booster shots, whatever it is to make sure you have high protein. If you're people take these drugs and are on them from some company online and they just order it every month.
Dangerous.
That's how they are. They get it every month. And I have patients that are switching and calling me because they're like, I heard you do a one-on-one approach.
Right.
So they go online. They're like, I don't even know what dose I'm taking. I feel horrible. I'm vomiting.
Because it's not one size fits all.
It's not. So it's all about like kind of being guided. So we try to offer that.
I just had Dr. Sherry on here talking about Ozempic, all that, and how much there's a bad stigma with it. And I really can't wrap my head around that, because even if it's, it's not just for vanity, but why not want to look good, right? But also your mental health is affected by how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely.
So
I just want to share two stories about that quickly. Go ahead. I have marathon runners,
right.
Nutritionists, and just all different, like across the board, morbidly obese. I have treated all different across the board. And I just had a nutritionist this week tell me, she's like, when this started, I thought everyone was crazy. You're
meaning
cheating.
Like Ozempic.
Yeah, you're going on Ozempic. You're cheating.
Easy way out.
Easy way out. Like, you need to have a nutritionist to guide you, which you do. I agree. You need to always make sure you are eating a balanced diet. And a lot of people need a nutritionist to help them, because not everyone knows what they should be eating and when, and they need the guidance. So I think nutritional support is key. And she's like, I woke up. I can't lose weight. I'm like perimenopausal. I'm trying everything. I don't know what to do.
Like,
yeah, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything.
Right.
I've literally tried everything. Nothing works. I've tried the dieting. I know exactly what to eat. And now I realize I'm the crazy one.
Yeah.
And that really it's working for everyone else, and it's healthy. And I see my patients get off their cholesterol medicine, get off their high blood pressure medicine.
Isn't that incredible?
And it's unbelievable. And people are going from pre-diabetic to not pre-diabetic. It's unbelievable. So I think
there's so many more health benefits than just the losing weight,
absolutely.
right? And there's actual science behind that.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, there are a lot of studies out for decrease in inflammation on GLP-1s. I have patients, actually, I work with some patients that are having fertility treatments and pre-fertility treatments.
I just read about this.
Pre-fertility treatments, their MFM doctors are actually telling them that they want them to go on Ozempic, GLP-1 medications, to help decrease inflammation, especially if they have a history of PCOS, because you naturally have
endometriosis, right?
Yep, and endometriosis.
So it makes you more fertile, or what is that?
It's not about being more fertile. It's about decreasing inflammation.
Got
and
it.
Inflammation in your system can go against you in many ways, especially if you're trying to conceive and trying to have a baby. That can be something that can make it harder. So, and autoimmune disease, people that have inflammation from that helps. A lot of people that do suffer from autoimmune disease and psoriasis and joint pain have actually felt less pain and more, less inflammation while on the GLP-1s. They're not going on it for that specifically, but, by losing weight, you're also, you have the obese patients. By losing weight, they're literally giving themselves years to their life. Yeah. I had a patient that showed up. He said, I used to weigh over 300 pounds and now I'm running the marathons in every city.
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
And happy. It's unbelievable.
That's incredible.
And I love seeing everyone
and it's your quality of life too that you're changing. Like, not only are you adding longevity, but you're changing, like, now he's running marathons, right? Like, that's your quality of life just changes. Yeah. And the fertility part too, it's like, for years, doctors would be like, oh, you have PCOS, you're not going to get pregnant. You're going to have a hard time. And now here's a fix or something that helps, and it increases all of those chances. Yeah.
And it's not for life. I say, like, you go on for a few months, you decrease your inflation, you feel better, you lose some of your weight. And the best thing for me is seeing people, once they've got to their goal and their realistic goal, and they're on this incredible new path of exercising and eating healthy, you literally see people shine. Like, I'm not joking. You see people. I went out for dinner recently with someone who got to their goal, their weight goal, and I haven't seen her dressed in years. Like, she looked gorgeous wearing, like, I'm like, you're so fancy. We're out for dinner. She's like, because I feel good now.
That's incredible.
I can actually not go out in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt always, and like put on my nice dress and feel good in my skin.
Isn't that so empowering when you see a woman confident in herself, like, and you helped her do that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have a million more questions just about that topic alone. But tell us how you even got into this industry, like even before this was your business. What were you doing before Swift IV?
So I have
Swift Health.
I've been a PA for almost 15 years now. I started working in the hospital system. I worked in the emergency room. I did labor and delivery.
Like my cousin, I told you.
Yes. I also then, once I moved out to New Jersey, I worked at local urgent cares.
Where were you before that?
I was in the village, on the West Village. And then I worked at local urgent cares. People may recognize me from PM Pediatrics. I was also at the adult and pediatric urgent cares around the neighborhood. So I got to know a lot of the families out here in Bergen County through that. And then I was working also at an orthopedic practice. We were trying to turn it into an orthopedic urgent care, which was a fun project. And then COVID hit.
Okay.
And when COVID hit, I just gave birth to my fourth child. I had a baby like 2 weeks before COVID started.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to work again, because I went from like having, full-time work out of the house to now having 4 children at home and an infant, and had to try to like figure out what I'm going to do. And I went for my first COVID test because my daughter was coughing, and I was obviously freaking out because she was sick and I wanted to get her tested. So I brought her to one of my offices that I was working at and had to wait online for over an hour in my car to get her tested. And I said to myself, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. The next morning, I hooked up with a lab locally that was able to have, and you had to wait a week or more to have results. So the next morning, I called a lab and I we basically hooked up with a lab that was able to get next day results, which at the time was like unheard of.
Yeah, it was.
Unheard
it was
of.
Like hitting the
and
jackpot.
I started advertising COVID testing all over Bergen County with next day results.
Wow.
The next day, this was like early on in COVID, I had a line. I was doing it from my house because I didn't have anything set up yet.
Yeah.
And I had a line. You could ask my neighbors. They all were like, we still laugh about it today.
Right.
I had a line around my block.
Oh my God,
And
I wish
said
I knew you.
to myself, this is the most craziest thing in the world. I can't do this. Like, I felt unsafe. I had
because everyone's coming to
every
your
single
house.
nationality. I had post office trucks. I had police cars.
No.
I had fire trucks. Every single type of vehicle was there. It was really a sight to see, but also insane.
Yeah,
and
were
I
you
had my
scared?
4 children in my house. Yes, of course. I had
People
no
were
idea
coming
who
there
these
with
people
COVID.
were.
Yeah.
So I started. So the the morning after that, I called the local. I realized I'm going to call the local synagogues, churches, and community centers in Bergen County and just set up testing sites. So we started testing sites, and lo and behold, we ended up turning into testing for COVID to treating people for COVID. And doctors knew that I was offering services to people at their homes. We were also sending nurses out to people's homes to test.
That's incredible.
So it turned into testing to treating, because people are sick. What are they going to do? We need to have solutions. IVs were remarkable at the time.
And they were helping.
When people are sick, you get an IV and all of a sudden they call an hour later. They're like, what did you do to me? I feel so much better. I mean, we all know it. I do it to myself. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. So this was already 5 years ago, and it turned into one thing led to the next. I work with OB/GYN doctors to deal with pregnancy patients who are pregnant and nauseous, who have HG, which is a condition where they vomit a lot. So we have to.
What my mom had that when she's pregnant with me. No, wait, what is it? What is the name for
hyperemesis from
she like I remember she was in the hospital. Yes. Well, I don't remember.
A lot of women are hospitalized from it because they can't keep in the fluids.
And you need to get IV.
But I work with many OBs, and we send a nurse to your house and we administer the IV at home. So we create a plan for them to be comfortable and make sure they're not losing fluids. I wish I had this service when I was pregnant, because I experienced that, and I had no one to give me this.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so it's an unbelievable treatment when you're pregnant.
Helping more than just.
And I do elderly. I have patients who are, whether they're hospice and like at the end of their life, the families want them to be comfortable. I've had patients that were like considered maybe hospice, and we give them IVs daily, and they like are still with us.
Wow.
Because a lot of times at the end of life, you just don't have an appetite, don't want to drink. So it's like a downward spiral. Like, are they dying, or do we just need to like rehydrate them and give them some nutrients to like get some energy to keep going? So do a lot of elderly, deal with patients who have autoimmune. I work with functional medicine doctors. We deal with patients who have Lyme disease. We come up with plans. I have patients who suffer from, inflammation, chronic inflammation. And then we have the everyday hungover, sick visits, whatever.
Like, I don't even think I told you about my autoimmune, which I would love to work on that with you.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that part can be fixed. Yeah.
Tell me.
So it's PVNS, it's pilonocular synovitis. It's 1 case per million. It's very rare. And mine is in my left knee. They're benign tumors. But I deal with like the extreme arthritic pain and extreme inflammation.
Wow.
So like I'm doing anything always like, lymphatic drainage or just.
Of course.
I've been into the holistic world, I would say, for like 20 years.
Amazing.
Like I'm more not Western medicine. Like I am more like I will go to like a witch up in the mountain to tell me something before, I want to cut my knee open again and get another surgery.
For sure.
And this is the longest stint I've actually gone without having surgery. So it's been about 11 years.
Amazing.
And I've had 5.
Wow.
So when I was diagnosed when I was 18, I had, I was actually misdiagnosed originally when they went in. They told me it was a Baker cyst.
Wow.
So
That's
they thought they thought they were removing a cyst. They went in and it was a tumor. So obviously that was scary when me and my parents found that out. And, thank God it was not malignant. But it was very hard to diagnose because it's so rare. And a lot of orthopedic surgeons have never even seen it in real life. Like they've only studied about it in medical
textbook, right?
Exactly. So we actually had to it took months of interviewing doctors and surgeons. And we found through actually one of my dad's clients referred us to Dr. Healy at Sloan Kettering, and he's an orthopedic oncologist. And he has a very close relationship to the disease because I think somebody in his family has it.
Wow.
But he dedicated his entire life practice to studying PVNS and coming up with a cure for it.
Wow.
Which there really is none. He has a drug now that's out, which I have not done because I said I'm not really...
Right, not trying to go that route.
Going to take it, yeah. So what I've had to accept, I guess, is that, everyone has something. And it wasn't going to stop me from doing the things I wanted and to just figure out how to live
with it.
Exactly. And comfortably.
Amazing.
So that's been this, calling you and being like, give me every single vitamin you have.
Right. So
I've always been on that path.
Vitamin panel.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will.
I will, because I go to doctors and I do have hair loss, which I think is part of my autoimmune. And I experience all these things or like weight gain and fluctuate.
Right.
And they don't give you any answers. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like always on a quest to figuring out how to improve my health.
It's really hard. I mean, it's really hard when you have a condition that is just, you're not getting the guidance and a lot of times you need hand holding.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating when you go to the doctors and you're not getting that hand help.
Even one of my girlfriends recently, I think misdiagnosed her with thyroid. And it now is turning out that it might just be too much biotin or a deficiency in something.
Right.
So I absolutely would love you to come and do our blood work and everything.
No, we'll
Even my
definitely
husband, and see the full vitamin panel. Yeah, all of it.
No, it's unbelievable what we find. Like we find incredible things, the ways that we can help people just by seeing that.
So I just want to shift from like the health hat you wear and miracle worker to the businesswoman and then the entrepreneur that you are. So obviously, from what I take, COVID kind of led you in this direction of having your own business. But talk to me about being a founder of SwiftHealth. Like, what was that aha moment that switched for you that you were like, this is what I'm going to do?
So I've always been I'm always trying to like fix the system wherever I am. So like when I was in the hospital, I would like try to see how we can make, how I was in the ER, how to make the system better, or OB/GYN floor, how to like, just always looking to like make the solutions of what's wrong, or in the urgent care, like, this makes no sense that the reason why I ended up trying to start an orthopedic urgent care is because I was in the ER and the urgent cares for years. People break their legs at 8:00 at night when they're playing basketball. They're not breaking their legs at like 8:00 in the morning when the office is open.
Right.
And they go to the urgent care, they go to the ER, they spend hours, you or yourself or with your child for the broken ankle or whatever. And then you go to get an x-ray in urgent care and then they say, oh, we read the radiologist read the x-ray, your son's leg is broken. You need to go see an orthopedist tomorrow. So it's like, great. I just spent my entire evening in the ER.
Right.
And now I have to spend the entire day tomorrow or the next day because I probably can't get an
Waiting
appointment to wait to get an orthopedist to actually treat this broken ankle and tell us what to do. So it's kind of like, why don't we open up an orthopedic urgent care so we don't need to go to the hospital and spend 5 hours or go to an urgent care where they don't know what to do. So that's how Swift Health was created. I always had, before COVID, I always had parents knew what I did. So they would always call me and say, oh, can you do a strep test? Can you look at my kid's ear? Can you, call me to talk about like their diagnosis of anywhere from a breast lump to, their child's rash on their leg, anything. So I'm always there talking to people and, discussing anything health related. And I think, especially once COVID hit and we were all stuck at home, it was a natural step to just start to walk into people's homes because that's what I wanted. I wanted people to come to me. I love
everything at home, so this is incredible.
Like today you can get everything at home. Right. You get lymphatic massages at home.
I can sit in my office and get an IV.
My friends all get their kids' haircuts at home now.
Wow.
My sister and my sister-in-law get their hair dyed at home. Like everything is, people get their nails done at home. Like you have physical therapists. My son was seeing a physical therapist who now does treatments at home. Like
incredible.
Everything is coming home.
That makes sense.
And we are shifting because our lives are very busy. And as a culture, we're all working really hard. Our kids are in school and we want our kids to stay in school and we want to be able to stay at our job. So we bring these IV treatments to your office. We bring them to your, I'm in your office.
We're filming a podcast and I'm getting
office. So
healthy.
Everything is turned into the culture of us wanting everything to be done at home for convenience. And culturally, that's the shift that we all are seeing in every area, not just health. You want everything to be done at your doorstep.
It's incredible how you started with the idea of orthopedic emergency care and then went to you're literally covering every aspect of the industry.
I try.
You're wearing a million hats. It's incredible. I
also deeply am passionate about integrative medicine and finding the root cause. And me, that is, I'll just throw this out there. I had 4 kids with that epidural. So I'm very,
oh my God, incredible.
Fun fact, I took a natural labor course. I was totally obsessed.
So you're going to be my best friend when I go on my pregnancy journey.
I was totally obsessed and I don't share that with many people, but now I just shared it with the world.
I love that.
But I was really into all that natural stuff.
You're speaking my language. I want to ask you, I feel like people that I've spoken to during my honestly 20-year journey of trying to crack this. I'm not kidding. When I first got diagnosed with my autoimmune, my mom called someone. We got a number from my aunt and I call her a witch, in a great way. We drove 2 hours, I don't even know, to some little house up on a hill to some woman who diagnosed me with, she was giving me essential oils and vitamins and all this. Right. And told me, and I've never said this out loud or to anyone, just spoke about with my mother, that birth control, I had been on birth control 1 year and it was because doctors pushed that I needed it for my period or, whatever, which was just a normal period. Right. And she told us that it was the birth control that caused this unexplained tumor. And I honestly believe.
Of course.
I believe that.
Why not?
I it's an unexplained benign tumor that keeps growing. It wasn't even out long enough. Besides the point, we've always been looking for, the integrative medicine or the alternative route. Right. And I feel like the people that I've met in this world of the integrative medicine have come from traditional medicine and have seen the other side, and that's why they're here.
Totally. And
Is that what happened with
100%? I mean, I said I was in the hospital system and I was between being in the hospital system and actively working in the system and seeing how we are really putting Band-Aids on our culture, on our patients, and sending them home, as we said, like, as I said, just here you go home and figure it out.
And let's not figure out why.
Yeah, let's not look for the root cause. Let's give you you come in. I had patients that would come into the ER with sickle cell, come in, give them their morphine, whatever they needed, send them out. So same thing with children, like from little things, the kids getting ear infections every month. Let's not see what else we could do to prevent this from happening. Let's just keep giving them antibiotics. So really, it is so important, especially when dealing with, children, when it starts, when you're a child, to look at the whole picture. And, I personally, and I'll share this, I have a son with Lyme disease. Mm-hmm. So that also came from 3 years of going to every single doctor. We went to infectious disease. Yeah. We went to orthopedist because he was having major joint pains. He was an athlete and couldn't play sports anymore. He was like starting 5 on the basketball team.
That's devastating.
I couldn't play. And we went to all different doctors, hospitals, we went through all the different departments and got diagnosed with chronic pain. Let's just give him pain medicine.
Like, what do you even do with that? What do you even do with that?
Chronic pain, that was diagnosis. I had it written down, printed in the hospital paper. He needs to go see a psychiatrist for pain.
Oh, come on.
And deal with the pain with pain medicine. So I'm going to really start medicating my 11-year-old with pain medicine every day until we did a deeper dive with functional medicine doctors.
No words.
And he got diagnosed with Lyme disease, and he really had every symptom of it.
Yeah.
And has been being treated ongoing for that ever since. So I, as a mother, I can understand, understand what it is to look at the whole picture.
That frustration
and the amount of times we went to the doctors and just, my son would say, I have knee pain. And they say, oh, I'm so sorry. You're growing. You have growing pains, that's the age. Yeah. And then we finally had an answer, and it's been life-changing for me as a medical professional, but also as a mother to be able to help people around me. So I'm deeply passionate about trying to help people find the right direction.
You're pulling on a lot of my heartstrings on that story. Like, I feel it's what we went through. It's probably one of the most frustrating things when no one's telling you what's going on.
Yeah, but we're living in the best times for this.
I was going to ask, can I ask at all about what that journey looks like for anyone that's maybe even listening with Lyme's disease? Like, what are some integrative approaches you're taking?
So one thing is you have to have the right care. You want to make sure that you're with a provider that is going to monitor your symptoms, monitor your blood work, and make sure that you're taking the supplements, and you are, there's always, things are waxing and waning. Some months you're going to feel better, and some months you're going to feel worse, and your levels are changing. So you have to really be able to make sure that you're on top of it, and make sure you're doing everything you can with the right team. Because if you're seeing a doctor that's just telling you to go home and, take pain medication, you're not seeing the right doctor. And you want to make sure that the patient, whether it's child or adult, is being full picture.
Right.
Like, how do you feel when you wake up? What are you eating? What is your diet like?
Right. They never ask, what is your diet like?
My son's stomach was in major pain for a long time. And it turns out he wasn't celiac, because he's not celiac, but we put him on a gluten-free diet.
Inflammation.
Yep, he had major inflammation, and his stomach, we did every test.
Not one doctor asked that.
And just to add one other thing, my 1-year-old, who's now 5, my COVID baby, anyone who knows him, he, from 0 to 1, looked horrible. I mean, I love him and he's gorgeous, but he had inflammation from head to toe. Bleeding, scratching, swelling all over. His eyes were red. It was awful. And I had no idea what it was. I started, I was breastfeeding, so I started eating different foods, taking out dairy, taking out eggs, literally tried everything until I hit a wall. He had some allergies. We did testing, but he came out allergies to nuts. And I'm like, he doesn't eat those nuts. So this isn't that.
Not making sense.
And I just had mother intuition, along with doing a ton of research and speaking to a lot of people. I said, that's it. He turned 1. I'm like, he's as impossible as it seems. My house is becoming gluten-free. He is becoming gluten-free.
Right.
Within 4 weeks, his skin was perfection. Changed. And he's been gluten-free ever since. And it has completely changed his life.
That's incredible.
And he went from being the most uncomfortable human to the most happy, comfortable child.
Does he have celiac, or
he doesn't have celiac? He's gluten sensitive.
But that's not. Do you see the inflammation it could cause?
It was insane.
Incredible.
And I always I have many friends and family that have had psoriasis or different skin inflammations. Children specifically, I 100% believe that their inflammation from the inside comes out.
Right.
Adults, it's like little kids always get a rash with a fever sometimes.
Right.
Adults, when we get fever, we don't get a rash.
It's like more physical.
The kids really, it's expressed on their skin a lot. So I really do believe, not everything, but I believe a lot of inflammation is coming from what we eat and what we put in our system.
That's so funny because this story I've heard of as well, like they can be diagnosed with a nut or tree allergy, but it's not even that. Like it could be something totally different.
Right.
Because it was the same situation where they're like, all right, well, they're not even eating that. So how is that?
Right.
How is that causing this?
Right. There's so many, it's like
so crazy.
Yeah.
I know I have stories for days on that, but like quickly to add this. So my witch doctor, I called her. I only saw her once. I'm not even kidding. And she told me, this is how you're going to eat. Just do it. And I was 18 or 19. I completely ate anything that only came from the ground or walked on earth.
That's
like,
amazing.
I did not, and I tried it for like, and I'm telling you, a strict 6 months. Like I did not go off. Like nothing processed, no dairy, no sugar, no refined sugar, nothing out of a box, nothing that could have been made, like no gluten, nothing. And I had my MRI before I started, and it was when the tumor was like massive. Like honestly, it looked like a head on my knee. And then I remember I went to my Dr. Healy, and one of his residents came in before he came in, because you wait for hours, and they were just talking to me. And I said, oh, I'm starting this diet, and this is how I'm going to eat. And I completely went off gluten, dairy, sugar, everything. And he's like, oh, that doesn't matter. And I remember my mom and dad were all looking at each other like, what are you talking about? He's like, you could eat McDonald's every day for a year and it won't change your health. And we're like, this is a resident at Sloan Kettering telling us this. A resident who went to medical school, telling us this. So
they don't teach this in medical school.
And they don't
teach holistic and
they just want to slap on the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. Like, so pissed off, I left, whatever. 6 months later, I went back to the hospital for an MRI because I needed to get one right before my surgery date. And they come in with my results, I kid you not, and they're like in shock. And they're like, well, it looks like your tumor shrunk less than half of its size.
Oh my gosh.
I swear I still get chills when I think about it.
That's unbelievable.
6 months of eating that way, my tumor literally, which made the surgery easier.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Rather than having.
Yeah, of course.
So, and it made my healing easier. Like I literally got up and was, active within a few months, but it was crazy. And I just remember looking at him with like satisfaction of like, I told you, but he still didn't believe that was why.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
Oh my God, we could talk for days on this. So I didn't even ask you half the questions, but let's just keep going. What is one of the craziest stories that you could tell me of like going into a patient's home maybe?
Okay. The craziest?
Yes.
As in like...
Anything crazy to you?
Anything crazy. I mean,
I'm sure you see all of it.
I could tell you, thank God I don't have crazy stories.
Right.
Let me say that. I have like amazing stories with the patients that we go and see. If you want crazy, I'll tell you crazy stories from when I was in the ER. If you want my craziest story.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Do you really want to hear it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I was working at an ER.
Spill the tea.
Spill the tea. Right by the Meadowlands.
Okay.
So we used to get all the tailgaters.
Oh gosh.
And like I had a teenager come in, like a 19-year-old boy came in, and they were tailgating. They were tailgating by the metal, like before the game,
like the Giants game.
Yep, by the Giants game. And this was like, it was like a really hot day. He came in, and I swear he had a knife in his leg. And he said, I don't know exactly how it happened, but I was grilling and...
What?
Yes, he had a knife in his leg from grilling. Somehow, he said it fell out the thing. I don't know if I believe the story. He said, please don't call my mom. I don't want her to know what happened, but can you please just take it out and sew it up?
Oh my God.
He was over 18, 19.
It definitely didn't fall on him.
We don't know what happened. The guy was like completely like calm. It was so strange. Took the knife out, sewed his, obviously.
No.
cleaned that up
Yeah.
and disinfected everything. And he went and left and went back to the game. Yeah.
He went back to the game.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the craziest story I
that is
have.
crazy.
But my patients at home and the ones that we treat for Swift Health, thankfully, have
Well, it
been,
could be like a good crazy
yeah,
story.
the good crazy. I would say a general, like the patients that are really my favorite success story is the patients that we go to that, and you all know who you are, who are, you know, feeling so awful, whether like you are at the worst point of the flu or you have a stomach bug and you're vomiting for like 3 days straight, and they just call me and tell me that like an hour later they're feeling better. I just thought of the craziest story I had.
Oh my God, tell me.
Okay. The craziest story I had with IV was I have a friend who was like due. She was due with the baby, and her husband called. It was a holiday, and he drank a little too much, and her husband called in for an IV before. Is this all videoed? Because I just realized I shouldn't share this actually, just in case.
It's okay. We can take it
cut
out.
it out. Okay,
Yeah.
cut this out. I have another one. This is
Okay.
the craziest story. Take out all those other ones. I just
Bleep,
remember,
bleep.
bleep. Okay, I just remembered my crazy story. I had a friend that called. I didn't know this was going, the background.
Right.
But they called. I feel so horrible. Me and my nanny need an IV.
Okay.
We both feel really, really horrible. Please, can you send a nurse to our house to get an IV? No problem. Send a nurse. Like, you know, went through what's going on. I figured it was in the height of flu season.
Right.
No problem. Send a nurse, whatever. An hour later, literally an hour later, I saw a post that his wife had a baby.
Oh my God.
So his wife was in labor, and he was really feeling awful, and his nanny, they're feeling awful.
Right.
I didn't know that she was in labor,
Right.
but an hour later I saw a post on Instagram that they had
That
a
the
baby.
baby was- oh my God.
So we literally gave them an IV like
That
as
is
an hour before they left to the hospital, and the wife was literally in labor.
That is incredible.
So when I spoke to the nurse after, I'm like, did you know the wife was in labor? She's like, well, it kind of seemed like it.
Oh my God. That is so funny.
Okay, that's my crazy story.
That is really good.
So yeah, that's
And then you see it on
one.
Instagram.
Yeah.
I love it too because your clients follow you. I follow you on Instagram, and then you like see everything too.
Yeah, but I
Like,
don't advertise those stories. 'cause
Right.
You gotta.
Yeah, you have to. That's some tea. And even my uncle, like he got it. He wasn't feeling sick, but he got it just to feel good for the long flight and
Yep.
not get sick traveling in the middle of winter. And he felt great.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Okay, who is Aliza outside of Swift IV and being a mom? Like, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? Tell me about what you like.
I will just tell you I start my day at
Yes.
6 a.m. I would say most days of the week. So I try 5 days a week to wake up. That's my me time. My kids wake up at like 7 to go to school. So I try to wake up early and get my exercise in. So
What do you do for exercise?
So normally I switch off between, I go to classes or I work out. I have a gym in my basement. So I either do one or the other. I usually try to get out because I like the idea of getting out of my house.
Tell me where you go. Tell us everything.
So Elevate, my friend Eliana
Ooh, what's
Kay, she has a studio in Inglewood.
Oh, amazing.
It's amazing.
What is
Elevate
it?
Fitness. She does Pilates, boot camps,
Cool.
strength training. Always fun, always
Oh,
a
I have to
party.
go.
It's literally a party.
Real?
It's a
Okay, I
party.
have to go.
It's a party. Today I was there at 6 a.m. It was
but
a
I
party.
love it.
And she wasn't supposed to have a class today. And she texted me late last night being like, I'm going to actually, she knows I'm like a 6 a.m. guru.
Right.
So
You'll do
she's
it.
like, we're going to have a 6 a.m. class tomorrow. I'm like, sign me up. I'm there.
And it sets your whole day.
Sets my whole day. And I also go, there's a community center in Tenafly called the JCC. They have
Right.
classes there. I take my friend Adina Chilag's class. That's also amazing. She does a also like very intense, hard boot camp.
I love that.
Class. So
you
yeah.
like a good workout.
I like getting my good workout. I have
Then
my
what?
coffee, and then I'm like ready to
Your
start my
mom.
day. And then I'm in mom mode until my kids go to school.
Got it.
And then as soon as I drop them off by like 8,
I mean, you're juggling 4 kids.
4 kids.
Incredible.
Yeah, 4
and
kids.
then a whole day of
age
work.
14 down to 5.
Oh
Yeah, got my teenager and got my 5-year-old. Thank
Right.
God. All blessings, but very busy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I try to do my work. I try to keep my busiest work hours from like 8 to 3:30 when my kids are in school.
Right.
So I dedicate those hours strictly. I try to dedicate them just to work.
Right.
And then I try to also be around like from 3:30 onwards for the kids because there's just so much
Then
going
it's
on.
mayhem again.
Insane. Like
Yeah.
every night there's, sports and events and carpools and whatever
Right.
it is, play dates. So we're, yeah.
Okay, when you do get Aliza time, like what is it, your cup of tea? Like, is it a glass of wine? Is it a cup of tea? Is it a good show? Like what's your...
I love tea.
Okay,
I really
amazing.
love tea. My husband's from London.
Oh my
I loved tea
gosh.
before I met him. So
Okay.
he loves tea also. But
Very fitting.
Yeah, so we have like an incredible tea collection of
I
every
love
type
that.
of flavor. Love tea. I love coffee, but I drink coffee in the morning and that's
Okay.
usually it. But the rest of the day I have no preference. I just love all teas.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, all tea. Every night I have tea. But I would say my one thing in the winter, which I've unfortunately got my kids into, is skiing. That's like my secret passion.
I was just going to say, what is something people would never guess about you?
I am an avid skier. I grew up.
That's incredible.
My parents were obsessed and they got us obsessed.
Where do you ski?
We ski anywhere from like local, and I told my kids when they all knew how to ski on their own that I would take them out west. So we've been doing that for the last 2 years.
Oh
and it's
my
been
gosh. Where do you go?
Last year we went to Utah, and this year we had the amazing opportunity of going out to Colorado.
Incredible.
And it's like the best
What did you
few
like
days
better,
of
Utah
our
or
lives.
Colorado?
Just being out on the mountain. There's nothing greater
No.
in today's world, especially in the world with technology and kids being attached to like
Yeah. I'm a
iPads
skier.
and this. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to sit on a beach anymore. I just want to be moving and
I
just
love
active
that.
with my kids, and it's an activity that we can do together, and no one's asking what are we doing, where are we going.
Yeah.
And yes, it's an incredibly expensive sport.
Oh, yeah, but it's an
question about
incredible
that.
sport.
But I've actually taught all 4 kids now, thank God, how to ski, and we all now ski as a family. So
That's
it's really
incredible.
awesome. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're a big ski family. We
Yeah?
had a house in Vermont growing
Oh,
up.
amazing.
Yeah. Mount
Amazing.
Snow.
Oh my gosh. My best
And-
friends have a house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And when I was diagnosed actually with with the knee and everything, that was my biggest like fear
you
if
couldn't
I wasn't going to
ski.
be able to ski again.
Yeah.
So you'll have to help make sure I can teach my
You're
kids
gonna
how to
have
ski.
You will.
Yeah.
It's the most
And
gratifying
I
thing.
feel like you're the same too. Like you're constantly on the go and busy and like
Yes.
almost can't sit still.
Yes.
I always say that skiing for me is like the one place that I'm present. Like I'm there.
So true.
Yeah,
You
like
have to be
not
there.
on my phone. My phone's not even
Yes.
like I don't hear it. It's
Yes.
like I am there.
Yes.
The mountain air, like breathing,
It's
like the
amazing.
cold doesn't bother me. Like I breathe. I
no,
love
it's
it.
crazy.
Everything about it.
It's an unbelievable
It really
out-of-body
is.
experience. I love
My
it.
parents put me on skis before my 3rd birthday. Like I was 2 and
Oh my gosh, me also.
Yeah. Really?
2.5. My mom said she had to get rid of my pacifier because like they wouldn't let a baby on the mountain.
that is so
So
funny.
she said at 2.5, she threw my pacifier out and I was crying and I had to get on the mountain.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's incredible.
So it was like cold turkey.
Yeah.
Get on skis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like almost went away to like ski school, even in Vermont. They were going to send me. I wish I did, but I was being a brat that I
All right,
like,
so now we need to go skiing.
yeah, we
together
have
next
to.
winter.
I would love that. Well, you'll get rid of my inflammation so
Yes.
I feel
And then
strong on the
we'll go
mountain.
skiing. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I want to ask needles, nipples, and NAD. We did touch on that, but we talked. You had preemptive double mastectomy
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So my mother had breast cancer when I was in 8th grade. So I must have been 14. Back then, there was no one knew. I mean, this is 25 years ago. There was no BRCA testing, BRCA genes. Like
None
we
of
didn't know
that.
about genes. We just knew, we didn't know much. So there was no testing then. So then she, thank God, survived and was treated at the time. And then years later, I had a great uncle that died from breast cancer. And my mom told her doctor, my uncle died from breast cancer, and she at 95, she's like, oh my gosh, we have to test for this new gene that just came out.
Right.
You definitely have it because the telltale sign is like any male figure in your family that had breast cancer, since it's so unusual
Right, it's
and uncommon,
uncommon.
you must have you might have this gene called BRCA. So she did the testing and she was positive, and
Wow.
that changed her trajectory because the statistics came out saying that if you had breast cancer and your BRCA, the chances of reoccurrence are up to like 70% or so.
Wow.
So my sister and I like talked my mom into it. We're like, you have to get this surgery, double mastectomy.
Right.
And at the time, my sister and I were like 20, 22. We said, let's get tested
Right.
because mom has it. Let's see if we have it so we will be able to make the right choices.
Yeah.
So we got tested. I was positive. Thankfully, my sister wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
So I was 20 years old. I knew that I had this BRCA diagnosis. And
How did that feel at that age too?
it's interesting. My mother spoke to her oncologist about it and friends, and they were actually at the time, this is almost 20 years ago, they were like very against me getting tested. They're like, what, she's so young, she's not even going to get it yet. What's the point?
Right.
Like, she's just going to make her nervous the rest of her life. But I think knowledge is power. So
Yeah,
I
of
said,
course.
let me know what I have, and then I'll know how to take
You were able to take control.
precautions from it. So I basically went ahead and I was getting, from age 20, I was getting checked every 6 months. So I was like already on it.
Right.
And then I knew that once I got married, I knew that the surgery was imminent and that I would do a double mastectomy.
And you were going to,
And I
right.
said, since I knew I had the luxury of finding out I was BRCA young, although it was very stressful to like have that in the back of my head, every
Yeah.
time I was pregnant, there were no checking. Like the 9
Right.
months you're pregnant, you can't check.
Right.
And then I was insistent on breastfeeding. So I knew during that time, you also couldn't check your breasts.
So you got it before you had kids.
I got the diagnosis for it, kids.
Right,
Of,
okay.
of having the BRCA. I
Right.
tested positive for the BRCA gene, but I was always getting monitored. But while I was pregnant
Okay.
and nursing, I couldn't get monitored.
So that was like a stressful time. Yeah.
That was stressful. Exactly. So I always said, when I'm done, I'm going to wait. I made that decision, even though maybe it was playing with fire. You just never know when it's
yeah,
your
of
time.
course.
So I said, when I'm done having kids, I'm going to have the surgery. And my youngest was born 5 years ago. So when he was 1 year old, I scheduled to have the double mastectomy. And it's been a huge blessing to, I look at it as a blessing to know that I have the gene and that I can take preventative measures. And I openly speak about it. And I'm
And you did
always
something about it,
happy
yeah.
to speak to people about it, because I think it's such an important thing to be open about. And
Yeah.
there is so many people, whether they have a breast cancer diagnosis and need to get a mastectomy, I'm always speaking to different people about, the
Thank you
surgery,
for
what it's like.
sharing that.
And yeah.
It's like you said, knowledge is power. And I don't know why people are ashamed to talk about it, or these things that feel
Yeah.
taboo. But I don't know, even maybe someone's listening that is scared to
Totally.
go get it, and they'll just
Exactly.
And also, so after you had the double mastectomy, was there just like a complete weight lifted, or how did you feel?
Yes, I was just telling, I have a friend that was having a mastectomy recently, and I said, you literally it's such a big surgery, and I never had surgery before, and
Right.
I had a baby at home. I didn't know how I would like deal with it all or whatever, but the minute I woke up from the surgery, despite like the pain or anything I had to deal with surgery wise, I actually, it was the first time in my life I felt a huge weight was lifted from my chest, and I was like, thank God I'm in this position. Like, I'm on the other side, whatever it is, and I'm done. Like I did this surgery.
You're like,
it's
probably feel like a new life you're living. Yeah.
One less thing to worry about.
Exactly.
Obviously, there's so many things that can happen, and
Of course.
you can't control your health, and you
But
gotta
that's
pray.
major.
Yeah, but it was a big weight that was lifted.
And now, like, you're helping people before they even get to that point, or the breakdown, like before the diagnosis, before the crash. Like, can you talk to us now about what NAD injections are and what they're doing?
There's a lot of talk about NAD.
People are obsessed.
It's literally everywhere now.
So tell us, like,
interesting.
as if like we're in kindergarten and we don't know what it is.
So NAD, it's a molecule that's found in every cell in your body. So it's kind of like the fuel for each organ in your body to keep going. So you have molecules in your heart, in each organ. So you have your heart, your GI system, your brain, everywhere. So you need to, as we get older, like anything, when we're young and we're youthful, we have high levels of NAD in every cell in our system.
Right.
But as we get older, like everything, things decline, and the NAD, the natural levels of NAD decrease. So we get less energy. We get our sleep we get more sleepless nights. Our brain, brain fog's a real thing. It's not like,
I know, yeah.
It's real. I mean, we all know what it is, and
Crazy.
When I was 20, I didn't have brain fog. Now I have brain fog.
Yeah,
So
I definitely
NAD definitely decreases. We know that NAD decreases as we age. So it also helps. NAD is something that helps with DNA repair, and it helps repair cells in our system as well, regenerate new cells.
Can I get it? I need to get it.
And we now know, we have studies that are showing that we are able to boost our system with NAD to bring the levels up.
That feels like a no-brainer.
We're able to do it both with an IV treatment.
How's my bag doing?
Yeah, the IV is great. So we either do it with the IV or we do it with weekly injections. You could do once a week or twice a week injections. I personally started NAD injections a few months ago, and my sleep is better.
It would have been the immediate.
My sleep feels better. I definitely have deeper sleep. I have less brain fog. And I feel like my energy levels are more stable throughout the day. Like I used to have like a crash at 3-4 o'clock and be like, oh, I'm exhausted. And now I feel like I'm just more leveled out throughout the day. So I definitely feel the difference. And I completely am pro NAD. And I think it's an amazing thing that we're able to do it. And people ask, why not a vitamin? Vitamins are water soluble. So they're not bad, but we end up excreting a lot of what we get. When you take an injection or get an IV, you're getting 100% of what it is into your system. So it's all about, and this is the line I like to say, it's all about repairing your cells from the inside out. So if you help repair, the inside, then we feel better outside. I
love that.
And that's like really what I feel about
Incredible. I have so much to pick your brain about after this. So, but if it sounds like a no-brainer. So why, you gave me the pros. Why would people be against NAD? Well,
I think like anything, some people don't like taking supplements. Some people feel it's all natural, and we don't need to necessarily, let's say, repair what we what's going down. But to be totally honest, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and me
too. The studies are showing now that it totally promotes longevity. So why not jump on that? I'm going to get
NAD for me and my husband next week.
Well, I'll set you up with the weekly injections.
Perfect. Okay, so we are down to the final drip, even though I could talk for like 5 more hours. What's next for Swift Health?
What's next for Swift Health? Well, I think that as much as we are trying to revolutionize the health space by offering the convenience of, meeting the patients where they are and what they need and offering everything to them, I see a huge shift over the last 5 years. And I see it most coming now with really offering people like a one-on-one. And that's kind of like where I see more of my time is being spent. And it's more just, obviously we have our home service and we have people coming to your homes when you need and, offering that. But it's really also looking at the person as a whole. And, we're doing more and more blood work to see the full picture and also being able to offer a one-on-one plan, whether you need, the GLP-1 weight loss medications or you need B12 shots because your B12 levels are low, or you need to take, different supplements. I'm a huge proponent in looking at the whole picture.
I can't wait.
I foresee for like the near future for myself and Swift Health of offering that to people.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm enthralled by what you're saying. So if Swift Health could be in every household, every purse, every panic moment, what would the mission statement be?
Swift Health mission statement? Swift Health, I would say, is here to offer like an integrative approach of offering medical care and wellness to children and adults. And
incredible.
That's where it is. I did have like a Swift Health.
Tell me.
Okay, I'm just going to read it here and we'll pretend
I'm
not reading it. So I would say that what do you want? What is it called?
Your mission
my
statement.
Mission. So I would say the mission statement for Swift Health would be that I truly believe the future of healthcare is personalized, proactive, integrative, and accessible.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're trying to build every day at Swift Health.
Incredible. Which is what healthcare system should be.
Yes.
You're changing it one day at a time.
And I definitely see the healthcare system in the country. I pray that it will move in that direction slowly.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a major impact by your company, what you founded. Like you said, you're customizing people's healthcare.
Right.
And it's not a one size, and you're looking at every aspect, and you're not slapping a Band-Aid on anything.
Right.
It's incredible. I can't wait to do more work with you. Okay, to end this on a little fun note, we're going to just do a rapid IV drip. Fun, quick,
awesome. Do you want me to take that out? Because it's like bleeding out already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so my drip is over. I'll actually ask you these while you're taking my IV out.
Perfect.
Okay, talk to me. Yes. I'll go like this. I'll start that part over, okay? Okay, now that my IV is done, Aliza is going to take it out. And while she's taking out my IV, I'm going to ask you some fun, quick, rapid fire questions.
Sounds good.
Okay. Tell me what your guilty pleasure is.
My guilty pleasure is, I'll be totally honest, my new guilty pleasure, which sounds so cliche, but it is my new guilty pleasure, is getting an IV when I have time for myself.
Oh man, I love that.
People used to ask me all the time if I give myself IVs, and I used to say, no, that's crazy. Why would I do such a thing?
Right.
And one day I dropped my kids off at school, and I was like, you know what? Hell this. I'm going to relax and stay home before I start my day. And it was the middle of winter, and it was like the time when everyone was getting sick. And I was like, I just want to feel good. I just want to be ahead of myself and not wait till I get sick.
Right.
And I was also like in the winter, felt like less energy and whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I sat down on like the lounge in my room and I gave myself an IV, and it was like the best morning ever. And I
oh my God, that sounds incredible.
For days. And I sounded so cliche because the rest of the week I was going to all my patients and being like, oh my gosh, I had an IV this week and I feel amazing. And like, I never was that person because I've never, like, I honestly
you don't even have time to do it.
An IV for myself. I've never, other than like having children, had an IV, and I don't have time for myself. So I was like, so now throughout the year, I consistently try to like give myself time here and there. To
honestly, that is an incredible answer.
Because I don't have, IV takes time. And especially when you're doing it to yourself, it's not, sometimes like it's obviously hard. A little more complicated. So I started doing injections with like biotin. I have like a whole routine for myself.
Incredible.
I do biotin for my hair because I hate vitamins.
Well, you look incredible. You glow. Your hair is beautiful.
Sweet. I do biotin for my hair. I do vitamin D, calcium. I also am higher risk for osteoporosis, so I take calcium, vitamin D, calcium gluconate, and CoQ10, which is an amazing. I love amazing for brain health.
Yeah.
And brain fog. So I do that injection. I have like, and now NAD. So I have like a whole weekly routine of injections.
Oh my gosh.
I have to like get myself all like geared up for
I'm so jealous.
Injections. It's like kind of ridiculous, but I shoot myself up with these. And I feel, thank God, I feel great.
I mean, I would if I could.
Yeah. So that's my new guilty pleasure.
This would be my guilty pleasure once a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Best kept wellness secret.
Well, I would,
But you must have one up your sleeve.
I really, like, just like you said when you were younger, I really try to eat like a paleo diet, like things that come from the ground. I really, really try.
Yeah.
And I feel really good.
Food
eating like that
is the best kept health secret.
Yeah. And since my son became gluten-free, I am also, and that has been amazing for me.
I mean, even for beauty purposes, like skincare, your hair, like it's what you're eating.
What you eat is what comes out in your skin. So I really believe that.
Okay. And our last fun question, and I am going on a bachelorette next week, so this is appropriate. So say someone's hungover on a bachelorette. Unfortunately, we're not going to be around here, but we'll be in Spain. But pretend you're with us. What is in our IV drip? So
for a hangover, the best thing in the hangover, first of all, you have fluids and electrolytes, which is obviously like what you're having. And if you are suffering from, a lot of times you have a hangover, you're nauseous, right?
Yep.
So we'll give Zofran, assuming that you can take that. It's an anti-nausea medication. It really helps cut out the nausea. And usually when you have you have migraines, headaches, body aches from like from the hangover. So we do Toradol, which is an anti-inflammatory medication that we add to the drip, along with B vitamins, which also just help give you some nutrients if you've been vomiting and you lost some, electrolyte fluids. It helps give you some energy back, B12. And that's usually what's in
the hangover cure.
And some magnesium to also help.
Incredible.
So that is like an amazing treatment for the hangover. And I would say it's not my favorite treatment, but it's such an immediate.
Really?
Literally.
Oh my God.
All you patients who have had this hangover know exactly what I'm talking about. You get this drip and you are literally back.
Okay, I should have done this after my husband's 35th. We just had. Oh my God, we were struggling.
I mean, depending how much you've drinking.
Right.
Whatever, but as long as you didn't drink like an insane amount and you're acting safe and normal, like it just really helps bring you back.
Okay, I'm calling you for the next hangover. All right, thank you so much,
Amazing.
Aliza.
Thanks so much for having
seriously
me.
could keep talking,
This
so
is
you're
fun.
probably going to have to come back for another episode.
We'll do another one.
It was incredible.
Amazing.
And we're gonna pimp you out. So, what is your Instagram handle? And we'll
SwiftHealthIV.
SwiftHealthIV, and we'll link everything, your website, all that, so you know where to find her.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
This is so fun.
I love that.